I have another book. I left it in my car, so the True or False Book of Planets. So, and again, we did the storms in honor of the Rate Show last week. So, right, Canby? Fortune County. I can hardly believe. I might have to post that picture of you and me in Chatters again, because it's hard to believe that you are that same cat. Really hard to believe. Yes, it is. Little County. You were a teeny little chipmunk. All right. It's just about 8 o'clock. I think we're going to get started. And I think this first one, I think I did it last week. But I just figured it was an easy one that we can all get right first. True or false? All tornadoes strike land. True or false? All tornadoes strike land. What do you think, Canby? Do you know? Think it's true or false? Oh, Jessie's back in her. And, all right, Daisy, Solly, and Pippi's dad says false. Leo 2CAF says false. Nisa Boyd says false. Anybody else? Mint Kitty says hi, Leo. Sorry, that's not one of the possibilities. I'll give it 5 more seconds. Clarence says false. All right. The answer is false. While most tornadoes do strike land, some never do. Tornadoes that touch the ground move along rather short, narrow paths. The furious winds blow with deadly force. They smash buildings, level whole neighborhoods, and injure or kill many people as they roar along. Tornadoes happen on every continent on Earth except Antarctica. All right, here's a good one. True or false? Tornadoes can pull up trees. True or false? Tornadoes can pull up trees. Is this story time? Yes, it is, Jay Serenity. And the last couple of weeks we've been doing true or falses because it's been pretty popular and you can participate. All right, it looks like Nisa Boyd says true, Danielle says true, Daisy Solly and Pippi's dad says true, Jay Serenity says true, DeWitty says true, I've seen it, Leo 2CAF says true, Mary Gilly says true, Clarence Smith says twill. Is that like Lily Von from Blazing Saddles? Tina says true. All right, the answer is true. The violent twisting winds of a tornado often uproot trees and knock them over. Tornadoes also have been known to overturn trains, buses, trucks, cars, and mobile homes. The greatest number of tornadoes in the world occur in Tornado Alley, a stretch of land from Texas to Nebraska. About 800 tornadoes occur every year in the United States. All right, next question. And I'll have to talk to you about this in a minute because I get these recurring dreams about this. Dust storms are like small tornadoes. True or false? Dust storms are like small tornadoes. All right. In case you didn't hear the question because you didn't refresh, it's a true or false question. Dust storms are like small tornadoes. Danielle says false. Daisy, Solly, and Pippi's dad says true. Nisa Boyd says false. Jay Serenity says false. We'll wait a couple minutes. A couple more seconds. Mary Gilly says true. Mary Ann Brown says false. Lost Girl says false. And Clarence says false. Okay, the answer is false. Dust storms look a little like tornadoes, but they are actually whirlwinds and not as dangerous. Dust storm winds blow across the ground, picking up dust and dry soil. They form the dusted soil into giant walls of dirt. Most dust storms occur over deserts or places where no rain has fallen for a long time. Some small dust storms just raise narrow columns of dirt. They are called dust devils. A dust storm's wall of dirt can reach as high as a 20-story building. I always have these recurring dreams that there's this little mini tornado, and it's like a dust tornado, and it's swirling, and it's coming for me. I always wonder if it's going to hit me or not. I don't know. I get some weird recurring dreams. I don't know. Next one, true or false. Storm chasers only track storms from the ground. True or false? Storm chasers only track storms from the ground. Yeah, haboobs, yeah. But the haboobs are like huge dust storms. All right. Hi. All right, looks like we got a bunch of falses. All right, it looks like we got a bunch of falses, and the answer is false. Storm chasers work on the ground, but also go up in planes to track a storm. Many use cameras and other instruments to film and measure a storm's speed, energy, and direction. Hurricane hunters fly into, around, or above hurricanes. The weather information that storm chasers collect helps us prepare for bad storms and be safe when one strikes. Early warnings have reduced the number of deaths caused by storms. So that's basically the end of the storms, true or false. We are now going to move to planets, true or false. And you know, when I was a kid, I was fascinated with planets. I would try to pick out planets from, supposedly right down by the skyline. You could see Venus and all right. The first question is really simple. All right. True or false? Planets are the same as stars. True or false? So while you're chewing on that answer, I'm going to grab a soda, or pop as they call it here. All right. So we got some falses. Yes, soda, yes. Did you know? Let me see if I'm right here. Yeah. Diet Sunkist. Sunkist is the only orange soda with caffeine. All the other orange sodas do not have caffeine. All right. So it looks like we got a quorum on false. And the answer is false. Planets may look like stars in the sky, but they are very different. Stars are huge balls of hot, glowing gas that create their own light. Planets are big, dark bodies that move around stars. They do not create their own light. Planets shine with the lights they reflect, the lights that they reflect from nearby stars. Even though planets are big, stars are much larger than planets. The sun is the nearest star to planet Earth. Thank God that they told me that. All right, next question. True or false? The sun is the biggest star. True or false? The sun is the biggest star. Regret nothing, chocolate. All right, Jay Serenity says false. Danielle says false. Coralie says Marianne says false. Mary Gilly says false. Nisa says false. And Lost Girl says false. Clarence says false. The answer is false. The largest known star is VY Canis Majoris. VY Canis, C-A-N-I-S, Majoris, M-A-J-O-R-I-S. The sun just looks like the biggest star because it is the closest star to Earth. The sun is close enough for us to feel its heat and see its bright light. Other stars are trillions and trillions of miles away. Can you say that like Carl Sagan? Trillions and trillions. We cannot feel their heat. Most distant stars can only be seen with a telescope. The sun's volume is more than 1,000,000 times larger than that of Earth. All right, next question. This is an interesting question, and I don't know what the answer is, but the planets and the sun make up our entire solar system. True or false? The planets and the sun make up our entire solar system. Hold on for 1 second. There. That's what I'm looking for. Maryland. All right. All right. So, got some truths, we got some falses. All right, Tina says true. All right, the answer is false. The solar system includes not just 8 planets and the sun, but also moons, comets, asteroids, and dwarf planets. The sun is at the center. The 8 planets, oh no, they're anti-Pluto. The 8 planets, Mercury, Venus, Earth, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, and Neptune, move or revolve in paths around the sun. These paths are called orbits. The planets revolve around the sun at different speeds. The time a planet takes to complete an orbit is 1 year on that planet. All right. Next question. Another good question. The planets spin as they orbit the sun. True or false? The planets spin as they orbit the sun. True or false? The planets spin as they orbit the sun. It looks like we're getting some trues. Jay Serenity, Mary Ann, DeWitty, Mary Gilly, Danielle, Daisy Solly, Pippi's dad, Tina. Alright. Lost Girl says true. Alright. The answer is true. Each planet spins as it goes around the sun. No two planets spin or rotate at the same speed. As each planet rotates, the sun shines on different parts of the planet. It is daytime in that part lit by the sun. It is nighttime in the part without sunlight. The time it takes a planet to make a full rotation is 1 day on that planet. Uh-oh, Lost Girl, you're showing your age. Alright, next one. True or false? Astronauts weigh the same on Earth as they would on other planets. Astronauts weigh the same on Earth as they would on other planets. Alright, we're getting some falses, but no false teeth. Alright, it looks like most folks think it's false. The answer is false. An astronaut's weight would be different on each planet. It all depends on the pull of gravity. Gravity on the huge planet Jupiter is stronger than on any other planet. An astronaut who weighs 150 pounds on Earth would weigh 355 pounds on Jupiter. And those of you who are into the metric system, that's 68 kilograms on Earth, 161 kilograms on Jupiter. Mercury is much, much smaller than Jupiter. Its gravity is far weaker. The same astronaut would weigh only 57 pounds, or 26 kilograms, on Mercury. The sun's gravity keeps the planets in their orbits. Ooh, this is a good question. One word here will tell you the answer to this next question. True or false? All planets are made of rock and metal. Yeah. All planets are made of rock and metal. Just by one word in that sentence, I know what the answer is. All right. Leo says false. Danielle says false. Min Kitty says false. Jay Serenity says false. Marion Brown says false. Daisy Solly, Pippi's dad says false. Mary Gilly says false. Lost Girl says somewhere a little bit country. I don't know about that. Tita says false. All right, the key word here that I was telling you about is the word all. Usually on true and false, if they make an absolute or never declaration, you know, always, never, all, none, it's usually false. So here's the thing though. The answer is true. All planets are made of rock and metal. Some are also gas and liquid. The 4 planets closest to the Sun, Mercury, Venus, Earth, and Mars, are all similar. They are made of rock and metal. But the 4 planets furthest from the Sun, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, and Neptune, are different. Their solid cores are surrounded by large or huge layers of gas and liquid. you know, the term gas giant. The four I was just mentioning gas giant. The 4 planets furthest from the sun are called the gas giants. All right, so I tried to tell you what I thought the answer was based on that, and boy, I was wrong. All right. True or false? Mercury is the planet closest to the sun. Mercury is the planet closest to the sun. I still have a ton of Orajel when I had my teeth problems last year. I have, not only do I have the Orajel that you put right on the gum line, but I also have Orajel, like it's a mouthwash and things like that. All right, so it looks like we're getting some trues. Danielle, Lost Girl, says ow. Marianne, Leo. Mary Gilly, Lost Girl, says true. Tina says true. The answer is true. Mercury is the closest planet to the sun. It is also the smallest of all the planets and has the shortest orbit. The sun is so close that its powerful rays make Mercury one of the brightest planets. Look carefully to see Mercury low in the sky, just after sunset or before dawn. From Earth, Mercury looks like a distant star. Due to its shorter orbit, a year on Mercury lasts only 88 days. All right. Next question. True or false? The surface of Mercury is covered with holes. True or false? The surface of Mercury is covered with holes. Hello, Magic. You haven't played with my shoes today. He's ignoring me today. True. We're getting some trues now. Marianne. Daisy, Solly, and Pippi's dad says true. Mary Gilly says false. Mary Gilly is showing her individualism. She doesn't go along with the crowd. Lost Girl says false. Yeah, it tastes a little bit more like orange to me. Like Fanta, and I think you're talking about Fago or Fango? I don't know about those. But this is good. Plus, I'm a caffeine addict. Alright, Lost Girl says false. Tina says I don't know. Jay Serenity says true. The answer is liquid. Yeah, that's the answer. The answer is true. Big and small holes cover Mercury. Over billions of years, large numbers of meteorites and comets have crashed into Mercury. They created deep holes called craters in the planet's surface. In 1974, a spacecraft, Mariner 10, flew within 437 miles, or 703 kilometers, of Mercury. Photos were taken by Mariner 10 give close-up views of the craters. Mercury's largest crater is about 800 miles across, or 1,300 kilometers. About the distance from New York City to Chicago. So their biggest crater is 800 miles long. All right, next question. And this is a good one, because when I was a kid, like I said, I was fascinated with planets. True or false? Venus is the hottest planet in the solar system. True or false? Venus is the hottest planet in the solar system. You look like Dune. You look a lot like Dune. Alma. Sorry, Jay Serenity, but yikes is not an acceptable answer. Danielle says true. Daisy, Solly, and Pippi's dad says true. Movie Buff says false. Anybody else? Jay Serenity says true. I'll give it 5 more seconds. Tina says not sure about that one. Okay. Mary Gilly says true. I happen to know that the answer is true because when I read about this when I was a kid, I could not understand why Venus would be the hottest planet when it was right next to Earth. It wasn't as close to the sun as Mercury. So and I will read you the answer. It's true. Venus is the hottest planet because it's close to the sun and is also wrapped in thick clouds. The heat from the sun passes through the clouds and warms the planet's dry, rocky surface. Then the clouds work like blankets. They hold in the heat and they do not let it escape. This traps the sun's powerful heat on Venus's surface and makes the planet very hot. The air on Venus is mostly carbon dioxide. All right, next question. Speaking of Earth's destiny, Jay Serenity, next question is, the surface of Earth is mostly land. True or false? The surface of Earth is mostly land. Interesting. Yeah, Danielle says false. Daisy, Solly, and Pippi's dad says true. Min Kitty says false. Lost Girl says false. Jay Serenity says false. Leo says false. Tina says false. Mary Gilly says false. The answer is false. The surface of Earth has much more water than land. In fact, 70.8% of Earth's surface is covered in water. From space, Earth looks like a giant ball of blue with a few other colors. The blue is Earth's oceans. The white is the clouds above Earth, or parts of the surface that are covered with ice. The brown or green that shows through the clouds is rocks, soil, and plants. The oceans hold 97% of the water on Earth. This is a good question. Ready for this one? True or false? Earth is the only planet with one moon. True or false? Earth is the only planet with one moon. Oh, that's awful nice. Rubbing your head on Alma. That's a little nice.
Janie, come on.
Come on, Janie. All right, Danielle says true. Movie Buff says true. Tina says true. Leo says true. Jay Serenity says, huh? True. Mary Gilly says false. All right, Mary Gilly. All right. The answer is true. None of the other planets has one single moon. The other planets have anywhere from 0 to more than 60 moons. Each moon is a ball of rock that orbits the planet. Moons are always smaller than the planets they travel around. Just like planets, the moons reflect the light they get from the sun. Earth's moon circles the planet once every 29 days. Alma just moved into this bed. Very good, Alma. Very good. That was impressive. All right. This is a good question. Yeah, was that Otis? Okay. True or false? The moons are made of cheese. Earth's moon is a windy place. True or false? Earth's moon is a windy place. Here comes magic. I better put my shoes out because Craig says false, Danielle says true, Lost Girl says false, Jane says I'm back in, Tina says false, Leo says false. King Tong says hi, Min. Alright, the answer is false. Earth's moon has no wind or other weather. On July 20th, 1969, Neil Armstrong became the first person to walk on the moon. Over the years, 11 other astronauts followed. They did not find any signs of weather on its surface, and Neil Armstrong's footprints were still there. Without wind or rain, the footsteps the astronauts left behind may be there forever. Earth's moon is our closest neighbor in space. All right, here comes another easy one. Ready? True or false? Mars is called the red planet. True or false? Mars is called the red planet. Ting Tong says true. Craig says true. Danielle says true. Jay Serenity says true. Lost Girl says true. Magic might be coming for my sneakers again. Magic loves sneakers. Tina says true. It's time for the reveal. The answer is true. Mars is called the red planet because its surface is reddish orange in color. The rocks and soil on Mars contain iron. Long ago, there was water on Mars. The water rusted the iron and turned it red. Strong winds blow the red soil up into the sky. Mars is about half the size of Earth. Here comes another really easy one. True or false? Astronauts have landed on Mars. Astronauts have landed on Mars. True or false? And Total Recall with Arnold Schwarzenegger does not count. Movie Buff says false. Ting Tong says false. Craig says false. Leo says false. Jay Serenity says false. Danielle says false was robots. Tina says false. Mary Gilly says false. Lost Girl says, does Val Kilmer count? No. Leo says real or movie. Alright, the answer is false. No astronaut has ever visited Mars or any other planet. But scientists do send robotic spacecrafts without astronauts into orbit around Mars. Sometimes the scientists send robots to the surface of Mars. The robots take photos, collect samples of soil, rocks, and gases, and measure conditions on the planet. The north and south poles of Mars are covered with ice. Yeah. And it makes me very angry. Very angry. Alright, we're on to Jupiter. True or false? Jupiter is the largest planet in the solar system. Jupiter is the largest planet in the solar system. True or false? There's a little fierce little kitty. Danielle says true. Ting Tong says true. Craig says true. Leo says true. Jay Serenity says true. Lost Girl says true. Movie Buff says true. Anybody want to go out on a limb and say false? Alright, well the answer is true. Jupiter is so big, more than 1,000 Earths could fit inside it. Jupiter is more than 11 times the size of Earth. Jupiter is also the heaviest planet. Because of its great size, ancient astronomers named Jupiter after the king of the Roman gods. The second largest planet in the solar system is Saturn. Alright. This always fascinated me. True or false? The Great Red Spot is a gigantic storm on Jupiter. True or false? The Great Red Spot is a gigantic storm on Jupiter. Alright, Ting Tong says true. Movie Buff says true. Jay Serenity says true. Danielle Ritson says false. Lost Girl says true. Jay Serenity says getting smaller, which, yes, it is. Tina says true. Craig says true. Barry Gilly says true. And Campaign Team says true. All right. The answer is true. Jupiter's Great Red Spot is the most violent storm in the solar system. Astronomers are not sure what causes the Great Red Spot or where it gets its color. Over the years, the color of the Great Red Spot has ranged from brick red to almost white. In the last few years, the Great Red Spot has been shrinking. And I watch all those planet shows on, and yeah, they're saying that if it shrinks the way it is, the Great Red Spot could disappear. The Great Red Spot is at least 300 years old, and it is one, and the storms are pretty intense on there. So imagine a storm that just never ends. How's that little kitty here? I've got a little kitty friend here.
How about the virus that never ends?
What's that?
The virus that never ends.
Yeah, true. All right. Here's another true or false. This is a good question. Saturn is the only planet with rings. True or false? Oh, sorry. Sorry. I thought he was gone.
Come here.
So true or false? Saturn is the only planet with rings. I was going to pick you up.
Uh-oh.
I'm sorry. I think Alma just spilled that. I don't think that's any noxious effluvia. What's that?
Looks like food.
Yeah, I think it's just. All right. So here's this little kitty. Okay. So we got Danielle says true. Ting Tong says false. DeWitty says true. Leo says false. All right. It looks like we got split right down the middle between trues and falses. Saturn is the only planet with rings. The answer is false. You're absolutely right, Danielle. Jupiter, Uranus, and Neptune also have rings, but Saturn's rings are brighter than those of the other planets. Saturn is surrounded by thousands of thin, flat rings. The rings are made up of billions of pieces of ice, rock, and dust. Each piece is like a tiny mirror that shines because it bounces back the sun's light. The first astronomer to see Saturn's rings thought that the planet had hands. All right, next question. This is a weird question. True or false? Saturn always looks the same from Earth. Oh, what's your little kitty? Where's your little kitty? What do you think? You want to answer some questions about planets? Hmm? What do you think? Hmm? I'm sorry that I put my foot on you. That was an accident. All right, Ting Tong says false. DeWitty says false. Campaign team says false. Leo says false. What do you think there, buddy? Hmm? Danielle says false. I'm getting gnawed. Alright, Lost Girl says false. Tina says false. What's the answer? Everybody's saying false. Hmm? The answer is false. Our view of Saturn keeps changing. For half of its travels around the sun, the top of Saturn is pointing towards us. We see Saturn's rings from above. For the other half of its journey, the top of Saturn is pointing away from us. We see rings from below. When Saturn is tilted sideways, the rings almost disappear. Whoop. It takes almost 30 Earth years for Saturn to orbit the sun once. All right, I'm going to put you down. True or false? Uranus spins like all the other planets. True or false? Uranus spins like all the other planets. Do you think Coralie's comfortable here? I think she might be just a little comfortable. Are you squinting at me? She's squinting at me. All right, Ting Tong says false. Leo says false. Craig says false. Danielle says false. Lost Girl bites her tongue as usual. Tina says, I don't know. The answer is false. Uranus is the only planet that does not spin like a top. Wait a minute, is that the right? Yeah. Uranus spins like all the other planets. True or false? Uranus is the only planet that does not spin like a top. Uranus is tilted on its side. It rolls around like a barrel, not a top. For half its orbit, Uranus's north pole points towards the sun, and the south pole points away. For the rest of the time, the South Pole points toward the sun and the North Pole points away. Each half of Uranus is light for 42 years and is dark for 42 years. All right. Next question. We only have a couple more questions, actually. So, Neptune is the stormiest planet. True or false? Neptune is the stormiest planet. Hi, Ramsey. Hi, Marilyn. Marilyn. Ramsey's having a good old time in the litter box. All right, Ting Tong says true. I don't really know the answer to this one.
There you are. Good boy.
Campaign team says true. Danielle says true. Craig says false. There you go, Craig. Not conforming with the rest of them. Lost Girl says true. Tina says true. All right. The answer reveal is now. The answer is true. Winds blow around Neptune about 3 times faster than the strongest hurricanes on Earth. An especially fierce, violent storm was discovered in 1989 and named the Great Dark Spot. But by 1991, it had mysteriously vanished. Since then, a similar dark spot has been discovered in Neptune's northern hemisphere. Neptune's largest moon, Triton, is the coldest known object in the solar system. All right, here comes a very controversial question. All right. I don't want to be divisive here. We're all one happy family. True or false? Pluto is a planet. Pluto is a planet. Oh, Danielle, I grew up in Philadelphia, so I have to go with Hershey's. You know. Plus, my mother lives right by Hershey now. No, not far from Hershey. Usually, when I visit my mom, you know, we might go to one of the restaurants in Hershey. My brother works at Hershey Medical Center. All right, Leo says it got demoted, which is true. Campaign team says false. Ting Tong says it was, but isn't anymore. Danielle says true. Lost Girl is kind of like me. Pluto will always be a planet. I don't care what they say. And I think that's what this book says. False. Pluto is no longer considered a planet. In 2006, astronomers decided that Pluto was a dwarf planet, not a true planet, because of its size and place in the solar system. Pluto is far, far smaller than any of the planets, less than 1/5 the size of Earth. It is also at the outer edge of the solar system, almost 40 times farther away from the sun than Earth is. There are 5 dwarf planets in our solar system. All right, we only have one more question. All right, and this is a good question. True or false? There are no planets beyond the solar system. True or false? There are no planets beyond the solar system. Danielle says false. Ting Tong says false. Craig says false. Campaign says false. Leo says false. Lost Girl says false. Looks like we're getting a lot of falses. Tina says false. Anybody else? There are billions of them. Alright. The answer is false. There are about 400 known planets outside our solar system. And every year, astronomers keep finding more. They call these planets extrasolar planets. Extrasolar planets orbit distant stars, with potentially hundreds of billions of planets in space. The future is exciting indeed. Most of the extrasolar planets found so far are gas giants like Jupiter. Yes, Planet Claire. That's around the B52 nebula, right? So this is the True or False Book of Planets. I'm actually really enjoying reading the True or False because it gets you guys involved. At some point, I'm going to also get back to reading other stories, but I have at least one more True or False book at home, and I will read that next week. So I have to tell you, Alma is out. She came from Planet Claire. Yeah. You know the worst part. Thank you, Ting Tong. This is you know, I like to get this involved just because it's a little bit it's been getting people a little bit more involved in one chat, and that's why I've been doing the True or False. It actually started out with the True or False cat book that I had, and you know, it was really, you know, it really got a lot of people involved, and you know, I can kind of go back and forth with you guys. The best story time teller in the history of stories.
Good night, kitties. Good night, everybody.
Good night. Good night. I might see if I could get some more books. Oh, you're welcome, Tina. I'm glad to help. I might see if I can get some more books. I might see if I can get some true or false, not true or false, multiple choice questions. Sooner or later, you know, I'm going to ask you guys some essay questions, and I want you to write out the essays on the screen. And we're going to grade them, and I'm going to grade for spelling, and you're going to have to you know, make sure that everything is spelled right, and you're going to also have to make sure that oh, never mind. You're welcome, everybody, campaign team. Ramsey's doing great. Ramsey, I think, was just put to bed. Thank you, Craig. I have to pull this this little kitty here. Hey, hey. Whoa! This one, Lost Girl. Does this one look a little familiar? Thank you, Whimsy Tortilla. Hey, you look like somebody I knew. Whoa, whoa, relax. Relax, it's okay. Relax. Oh. All right, okay, come here, come here. Come here. Look at that. Look at that. What do you think? All right, I'm going to put you down. All right, there we go. That cat looks a lot like Dune. Today is the 10th, right? July 10th? So, either tomorrow or Friday is 1 year, yes, for Dickens, that I picked them up, Lost Girl. I was telling you that today, this week, that I picked up Dune Dickens and Dune's brothers and sisters and mother from that 2.5 hours that we got them out of that place. So yeah, July. Look, it was like the 10th or 11th. Thank you, Ms. M. Appreciate that. So the 10th or 11th of last year is when we went up to, I think, was it Williams County shelter, and we picked them up, and they were some of the best fosters I have had. You know, they were just wonderful. They weren't afraid. They enjoyed being around. And Dune Dickens and his brother, they were maniacs. They did not want to stay in that pen. But I'm glad that I got a chance to bring Dune here to FFRC, since Dune was a mild CH. But I mean, you guys saw Dune when he was here last year. He was something else. He was just so full of personality. He fit right in. Is that Otis? Otis, my man. How you doing, Otis? Otis says, I'm kind of like an elevator. I go up and down, up and down. Hey, I got attacked right now. Are you attacking my hand? I'm getting my hand attacked. Marilyn, Marilyn. Otis. I wonder if Otis will let me pick him up. Otis, what are you doing, you silly guy? Hey, Otis, come here. Otis! Remember in Animal House? Otis, my man! Otis Day, you make me want to shout. How you doing, Otis? Hi, it's a Pontia. Hi, Pontia. Pontia. No, you're not Pontia, you're Asha. Sorry, Asha. Sorry. I got my sneezers mixed up. Asha. Asha. All right, Otis. I'm going to put you down. How you doing? Asha. And then we got a real fierce one right here. Look at this fierce one. How you doing? Hey, you're back.
Yeah.
I'll be leaving soon myself. Oh, thank you. That's awful nice of you.
Steve, you cut a cat. Tiffy, the wrong cat. You cut the wrong cat. Yeah. He's in by the firehouse. In the cage. I don't know how to operate him. Sorry.
Canby. Canby. Hey. See, this is what you get for trying to attack my hands. So now I'm going to have to carry you and maybe smuggle you home. What do you think? What would our 6 cats say if we smuggled you home? Hmm? What would those cats say? All right, here. I am going to put you down. I don't know. I mean, this is kind of why I have these glasses, because, you know, I could put these down around my neck, and then when I'm ready to read, you know. And it's funny, because I always get, like, these in packs of 5 at Wish, because, you know, that's one thing. Wish, you know, these glasses are, you know, a lot of times when you order stuff from Wish, it's kind of hit or miss. Sometimes you get good stuff, sometimes you don't. I usually be getting decent glasses when I order them, and I like to get these type that, you know. You're welcome, lost girl. Hey. I see a calico. I see a calico. Uh-oh. Do you see the pop-out kitten? Marilyn wanted to go in and mess with the kitten, and the kitten came out and was like, no, no, you don't. Oh, no, you don't. Look at Marilyn. She's got the butt wiggle. Spiker was out for a little bit. I haven't seen Spiker since I started reading. Alrighty, I am going to get ready to go. My trusty Eagles mask. Alright, everybody. I will see everybody next week. Have a good night, everybody. Or excuse me.